Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion. Akil, welcome to Aaron's Opinion. Akil from High Energy FM. We're so good to have you here today. First question that I would ask any guest is, before we get into High Energy FM, we need to know who Akil is. So, who is Akil? You can talk about your life, and then we can dig right into the High Energy FM. You can talk about what you want. So, who is Akil, for one thing? Let's start there.
Okay, so I am just, as people usually say, I am someone just trying to, make, I am someone just trying to make good for myself. So let's just begin with, how I get in to the radio industry, or let's just talk about. So me is basically I love radio, right? I love radio, and getting in I love radio since I was small, since I was like 8 years of age. Yeah, I love radio. Always wanted to be in the radio industry. Always wanted to be in, I always wanted to be in the media and the whole. Luckily, I didn't get on television. That's too bad. But I'm 28 years of age. I am from Trinidad, the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. I what I love doing is I love to listen to music. Well, obviously I said I love radio, so I love to do a lot of editing, or the editing for, probably persons, also myself, also for the station, you know. Um, that's just basically me. I'm just a normal person, just trying to do great things in life, and trying to, I always try to help people along. Once I could, and I have the access, I would just, help persons around, and that's just me.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And by the way, are you blind or sighted?
I am visually impaired,
Ah, okay,
so
good, good.
and I. But before we move on, though, I want to explain
Sure.
when I mean visually impaired, because some persons might take it wrong. So I still have I have some sort of sight. I am partially sighted, you could say, right? So I have like I do like let's say about 10% of my vision I have.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not completely blind, but I still have some sort of sight to move around and do certain things.
Sure, sure.
Things like that.
Yeah, yeah. And I've been blind my entire life. I have glaucoma and a congenital heart defect, and I'm 30 years old. So
Wow.
that's my story. And so a little bit more about me, how I got to this point in podcasting is about 2 or 3 years ago. I've been a teacher for 7 years, by the way, teaching online. And when I wasn't teaching, I was spending a lot of time listening to podcasts around the blindness community. And Akil, I noticed that a lot of these podcasts just were not, in my opinion, open to having guests from all over the world to come and talk about, their opinions, and that really was not okay with me. So I
Oh yeah.
created Aaron's Opinion to have an environment where anyone and everyone can come up here and share their opinions about what's going on in life, the universe, radio, whatever they want. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I forget exactly how we came in contact with each other in the first place. I was a few years back, but I'm really glad that you reached out to me on Instagram, by the way. I understand that you've seen some of my posts on Instagram, right?
Yeah. That's how we get it.
Right. Well, cool, cool. All right, all right. And what can you tell us about? So when you aren't doing radio, what else are you doing? With your life?
Well, apart from the radio, I have an other job beside the radio station. So I work at the Blind Welfare, Association.
Excellent.
So yeah, I worked there for like say about 5 to 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 5 to 6 years.
That's wonderful. I volunteered at the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association. So I'm very familiar with your way of life down there in Trinidad. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very good. Now, I was also asking you a lot of questions before about your radio station. So, what can you tell us about the history of High Energy FM? What's that all about?
Well, High Energy FM starts in, well, the radio station start in Scotland. That was back in the 90s. I think it was 1999 that station started.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, and from then to now, that station, been up from then to now. I mean, the history behind the whole thing of it. I mean, we hosted a lot of, we are the first station, online station to host blind cricket. We hosted blind cricket live on our station. Unfortunately, we didn't get to host our, we had a concert down here, but unfortunately, we didn't get to, host that due to some technical difficulties and stuff, but that's all good. Yeah, High Energy FM been around since 1999 and still going. We have our team surrounding the station. I remember when I had heard about High Energy FM, I always wanted. I'm for the record, I'll say David introduced me to David Lakai, who's now the CEO of High Energy FM. Introduced me to High Energy FM. Say, we have a station thing. And I was like, true, and I want to join. I wanna, be on the station. Lo and behold, I did learn a couple of stuff on the station. I mean, given the fact that I did take some courses and stuff, I love listening to radio. So it was nothing new to me. I always know how to, handle certain things. And then there's always certain things I didn't know how to handle. David, he was the one who taught me a lot on the station. And from then to now, the station has been growing, and I have been growing on to that station for years now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, David is welcome here on Aaron's Opinion. But what can you tell us? You say there's a lot of things that you need to handle in a radio station. So what are some of those things that you have learned to handle over the years? What actually goes on behind the scenes in a radio station anyway? A lot of my audience would want to know.
Yeah, I will gladly tell you. Well, okay, so it's not just about announcing and DJing and stuff. It's not more about is that is part of the job. That is part of what you have to do. But there's the outside part of it where, when the station down, when to put it back up, because I remember back then we had a lot of downtime with High Energy FM, and we always have to be on the list now to know when the station go down to bring it back up, because, we don't want to lose any listeners, given the fact we didn't lose any listeners, by the way. And, the thing about it, that's the hardest part of, managing a station, to know when a station down. You always have to be on the list now to know when that station down. And at the time, only was the person who was running the station at the time was me and David, and another guy, but he left now, so it was just me and David. So either him or I had was a list now to say, the station down, let's see if we could fix it. And apart from that, work-wise amongst the radio station also, we have to look out for, like, when we're doing promos, ads, and stingers, doing that stinger is very important for our station, but for all stations, I should say. So, you want to be able to be at it. You get an ad, somebody send you an ad in your email, you have to be able to, get that email on time, send out that ad in time, do that promo in time. Those things I end up learning on the station, and it grows me to realize how important having a station is. It's not just all about announcing, it's not just all about DJing, it's not just sitting behind a mic or a set. It's more to it.
Absolutely. What it comes down to is it's about building the rapport with the world. And maintaining a positive rapport. And that's actually very hard to do, especially when you're a podcaster, when you have to constantly, go from guest to guest to guest, and you have, you know, the audience, and you're always wondering in the back of your mind, you know, hey, are people listening? But funny thing is I've noticed that my guests every day just get more and more kind like you and more appreciative like you, and are just it just gets easier and easier the more that I do it, and the more that I broadcast and podcast, it just gets easier. So these things, and the other thing is that everything is a very slow process. In case you've wondered, will anything happen quickly? Nope. Everything is a
Yep. Yes, it is.
painfully
I
slow.
can tell you.
Nothing good happens quickly, as I've told people. And if it's good, it's going to take a really long time.
Really long time. Yep.
So, you know, so of course I don't know much about, and I don't listen to High Energy FM much. I've heard it a little, but what can you tell us about the general focus of the station? In other words, what types of programming, what types of shows do you like to hear, and what is truly the mission behind High Energy FM as it relates to, you know, content acquisition and things like that?
Mm. Well, our station is our station based a lot on disabilities, persons with disabilities, any kind of disabilities, wheelchair, no matter what type of disability. That's how we push in the station to be right now. And I mean, the station was like that before, but in the upcoming years, we had a lot of downtime, so we kind of lay back a lot on that. Now we're trying to push more on the push the station more to that angle. And in terms of content, well, we have a lot of content on the station. We have a program called Kids Corner. We have a program with Airplay 40 with Spencer James. We have this another program. Which one is this again? Kids Corner. I can't remember what the next one on top of my head right now, but we have a lot of content that fills the station, and plus more is coming. More is coming. As I said, we are kind of pushing the station more to that disability angle. So we are trying to fill the station with a lot of disability, just to get people, draw people a little more to High Energy FM, to make them that understand that, hey, we are not just High Energy FM, we are High Energy FM looking to make room for persons with disability and such. Like yourself also, Aaron.
I appreciate it. I tremendously appreciate it. It would be it's a tremendous honor to have my podcast, on the station. Absolutely. And we'll get to that later. But of course, it's also a tremendous honor to know that you care and that you truly are trying to get more and more people with disabilities to come up with their shows. So generally, let's say that you are not a podcaster, which most people are not podcasters because there's more people listen to us than podcast themselves. But let's say you're a DJ or you have a show. What would the process be that someone would go through to apply to your station? And, how does that work?
Well, in terms of applying, what we will ask for is, if you have a show carrying on, we will ask for a demo. So send us a demo of your program that you'll be carrying on. Maybe about, let's say your show is about 1 hour long. We will not actually take it for a whole hour. We might just take it for like a 30-minute period. And once we listen to these shows and whatnot, and we realize that, this is good content we can carry on to our station, we will, now probably get in contact with that person and let them know that, your show, sorry, is now, we will love to have you on our show because we listen to your program, and we notice that your show have potential, or you have some sort of potential. We will give you that chance, and the thing about it is not much you have to give. All you have to do is give us that demo of your show. Once that demo sounds great, we would probably give you a call or message you on WhatsApp or whatnot. And we might just say, what, your show has been approved. We would like to have you on our station. Give us a yes or no, and that's it.
That's good. That's good. And then, and then would someone then have to sign into some sort of how does the software behind the radio station work? How does,
Well,
what can you tell me about that? That's very interesting to me. Hmm.
yeah. Okay. So if if now you get in to our station, we'll now have to give you some programs, some softwares to install, set you up. It's online, so obviously we'll have to give you some online codes and stuff to put into the program to have you stream on air. So we will give the program to you. We will also give you the all the codings and stuff for the program to put into the software. So once we give you that, you will now be on air and ready to host your show. We will also teach you how to use the program if you're not sure of what to do and how to use it, especially if you're a blind person now starting off in a radio station. We will teach you how to use the program and just the basics, nothing too advanced, but just the basics just to get you started.
Right, right. Yeah, this is very valuable because I know a lot of other blind people in the radio field who would love to do this, who definitely need to get onto a station. Better than I, but the audience doesn't understand that it can be very hard. It used to be very difficult to get onto a radio station as a host, and I'm just so glad that we live in a society now where that has become tremendously easier with technology and things like that. So, yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, and then, do you ever like work with other radio stations, or have you ever formed any sort of a network of stations? Like how what do you think about that?
Uh no, I never thought of well, not that I never thought of it, but just I never done it,
Right.
because I don't literally have I would say I don't literally have the patience to sit down and do up a radio station because one, doing up a radio station is very hard for yourself. I mean, David can tell you that because he have done it. He has done it. So sitting down and doing up a radio station for yourself is really hard. That is just to me, I don't know. I just never thought of doing it. I never
Hmm.
thought of doing it. That's why I am on Honey
Sure,
GFM
sure,
because
sure. No, it's not even, and it has nothing to do with Aaron's opinion. The reason I ask is I know several broadcasters, I know several other managers here in the states who have stations like yours, and they're having it, and I can tell. I was just on a radio show with another good friend of mine just 2 nights ago, and I could tell in my heart, I could feel that the manager was really struggling to build up his station and to get recognition and to really, get the
yep,
traction, and he was really frustrated. He's like, now I have to redo the website. And I don't have to tell you how hard it is to redo a website. We already know
yep,
how hard that is. How fun that is. Of course, if you're blind, it's even more fun. So I was like, I was sitting there feeling bad for him. I was like, this station, whatever it was a couple nights back, it was like, they really need us people. We all need to work together like this, like we're doing now, help each other because these stations in the States, Trinidad, anywhere, they really need the help. Everybody needs a hand up, really. Yeah.
yep, that is true.
So I'm sure that you have, by the way, the other person in the room here, if Amy is her name, I think if they have any questions on the other side there, the person that's in the audience, they are welcome to chime in as far as I'm concerned. Do they have any questions for you? Or do they have any
Uh,
questions for me?
well, maybe if she does, she would probably come up and say. But I don't think she have any questions right
That is
now.
fine. That is fine. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. So the other thing is, so what can you tell me about, how much of a what can you tell me? How does understanding a station's analytics work? How can you tell what countries are tuning into your station? What type of audience, what type of demographics can you tell me about your listeners to your station?
Oh well, I don't know much about it, but we do use stuff like that. That I think is Google something we use to pinpoint different listeners and stuff. The thing with that is sometimes it go up, sometimes it come down. But
Yeah.
when we, we do check from time to time to know who is listening and where they're listening from. And they don't let us know the names, but there's no what area, what country you're listening from, wherever part of the world you're locked on from, how much time you've been tuned in, how long you've been tuned in, like those stuff. That's the most I could say. I don't know much about it, but I know we have that tool and we use it from time to time.
Right, because I think that one of the things that I think is interesting is to know who's listening so you can kind of measure the success of your show. One thing that, I wouldn't wonder as as a podcaster myself, I wouldn't wonder, but I think other broadcasters from the States would want to know, well, hey, how's my show doing? Like, people would just be curious to know, like, how many people listened each week, Like, do you ever get data like that? Or how, like, if someone came to you and said, well, I know that the show is doing well, but I just want to know how much of an influence the show is having on the station. Do you have a measurement of that to show, like, what pull or what influence a show has?
Well, you see, yeah, well, the thing about it is, okay, so if, for instance, I have my shows on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays and Sundays, right?
Right.
So what we will do is use that analytics to pull on that day, at the end of the day, at the end of my, let's say, at the end of my show, so my show is like 3 hours, so at the end of that 3 hours, we will pull data from the Google Analytics. We will pull the data from that, and then we will see, well, okay, this person been locked on for these 3 hours. That's how we measure it to be at times. Now the thing with that is, if the person listen for, like, let's say a half an hour to 2 hours, we will get data like that, but only from, like, let's say if you're listening from New York, we will see New York was locked in for 2 hours and 55 minutes or 2 hours and 40 minutes. We will see data like that. And that's how we go about measuring our data and stuff.
Hmm. So let's take Aaron's opinion. As you can tell, Aaron's opinion is about, each episode, as I've told you, is around an hour. Some are slightly over, some are slightly less. But what do you think? How do you suppose 1 hour would fare on High Energy FM? In other words, how many people on average listen in 1 hour? It's not that I need to know. I don't need to know that, but I just want to learn about it. I'm just curious about it. Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, we haven't checked in a while because we tend not to worry about.
Sure.
We tend not to worry about how much listeners listening, how much listeners didn't listen for today or yesterday or whenever. We try not to rely too much on that. But if we have to, we would take a look at the data and say, okay, well, this person listened to my show for this hour long or that hour long. But we try not to rely on that too much then.
Sure. Excellent. And then how do you determine, as the station manager, like, at what day and time to assign a show? How do you know when to schedule the shows, no matter what they are?
Oh, well, okay, so let's use other shows beside mine, right? Okay, so let's use
Aaron's opinion.
Yeah, let's use your show. Okay, so your show, let's say your show is hosted on a Tuesday, which I'm not on, right?
Right.
What we will do is we will split your 1 hour show into, like, let's say about 3 to 4 parts. But what we do with that is, let's say that 1 hour is going to be, let's say we want that 1 hour to split in, let's say 15 minutes for the most. So we will split that hour into 15 minutes. Keep in mind, we will need to edit this show, right?
Sure.
So we will need to edit your show into 15 minutes. But we need to break up your show in parts. So it's 1 hour. We're going to break up your show in parts. So we're breaking it up in 2 parts. We want it in 2 parts, right? I'm just using 2 parts for now.
Right, exactly.
Right? we're breaking up your show in two parts. So we want your show in two parts. We're gonna now have to schedule now those two, that file that we split. We have to schedule those two to play in between our promos and IDs. And to do that now is not, it's sounding easy, but it's not a easy thing, because there's a lot of work and workflow and stuff you have to go around to do it. But that's how we usually split up shows on the station. For instance, tomorrow we have a show from Spencer James, the Airplay 40. His show is split up, I think, is in 9 parts. And we now have to put that show into our scheduler and schedule it to play at a certain time. And we have to do that with all 9 parts of the show. Also, not forgetting, promos and IDs will have to be added in there also.
Right, exactly. So with the promos and station identification, that's what you do that every 30 minutes, basically, at the top of the hour, for instance.
Yep. Yeah.
Good. Do you ever do like a newscast? Like, some stations around the disability community have like a news at the top of the hour. They have like news from around the world. Do you guys do that?
Okay. So yeah, we had our news at one point in time.
Right.
We're looking to start it back though, but we stopped it because it was, as I was doing the news at one point in time, it was a little strain on me, because there's so many things I want to have with the station. So I had was to stop that. But we sure want to bring back that news to High Energy FM.
Right.
But we did have news for like a month or so long.
That's really cool. And what types of covers, like what types of things made the newsreel? What types of things would people do? Yeah.
We actually, the thing about it is, we are from the Caribbean, right? So we try to pull news from everywhere, internationally, globally. We try to pull news from everywhere. So it's not like you're in New York and you're going to just pull news from New York only. We try to pull news from all over.
Right. Good. And so then did you have correspondents living overseas virtually, like willing to report on what's going on in their country?
No.
Interesting. Okay, good. All right. Well, I mean, that's really good. And then how many shows do you have within the day?
Well, okay, so we have like, let's see. Okay, so we will have like, let's see, we have a Wednesday show, Thursday. Let's say about 4 shows. But that's most of my shows is usually being in night. The only day show I have is on a Saturday and on a Sunday. That starts from 6, so that's my morning after evening.
Right. So what happens?
If we have any shows during the course of the day, that might just be more like more Saturday shows, Thursday, Wednesday, Sunday. Well, that shows from back to back, from, let's say, starts from in the morning, or we have shows starts from in the morning on a Sunday. We have shows starts on a Saturday in the morning, and that goes straight down to about, let's say, 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Yeah.
Right. So basically, then all the other hours of the day, then the shows just repeat. Then there's just a track that just keeps repeating the shows like around the clock.
No, we have music like auto DJ. We have music to be played after every show. So like, if my show finish at 9 o'clock, we will have some shows. We'll have some music play up to 9 o'clock until whatever time. We try not to. We have certain days full, but we try not to overpack the station with too many shows to bore people. So we choose out certain days where we will have a lot of shows, or we choose out certain days where we'll have some shows and some music in between. So we try not to overpower the station with too many shows. So that's how we carry about our station.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Well, then I'm sure that you have a lot of questions about Aaron Richmond and Aaron's opinion. So let's turn the tables around a bit. What are some questions you have about me and my life and my podcast and what I do?
Well, before okay, well, let's see. I remember, I think you had mentioned this before. I remember exactly when we had spoke some years ago concerning your show. I think, if I'm not sure if you remember, I think Diva is one of the persons who introduced me to you.
She did. Correct. Indeed.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and also we have her show on a Wednesday well, she shows is hosted by me on a Wednesday, every Wednesday at 8:30, I think. Yeah, she's one that introduced me to you, and I was really excited to have to pull your show, because but because of certain circumstances, you couldn't get along with your show. I am so glad that I met your show. I bounced up your show on Instagram, and how I bounced it up is because I was on Instagram and I was just scrolling through and stuff, and I happened to see you come up. I was like, oh, let me take a listen to this. And then hearing your voice, I was like, I remember this voice. This voice sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
This voice sounds very, very familiar. And I was having to send me message him and ask him if you would like to have this show and
So
stuff.
good. Yeah, and like I said, off the record, like I said, it was never. I just want to be 1,000% transparent. I always wanted to have the show. It was just some software, some technology issues got in my way there before. But now I think that technology, the software behind your station, is a lot more advanced now. And I
Yes,
think
it is. Yes, it is.
now that we have the power of these RSS feeds, I think it's a lot easier to make these things happen with a lot less effort. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Definitely.
So how you what? Tell me a little bit about your podcast and how you started.
Well, sure. It's the podcast. Basically, what I'll tell anyone is that Aaron's Opinion is the podcast where we speak about critical issues in the blindness community and all other issues from around the universe. And I was on Facebook about 3 or 4 years ago, and I noticed that a lot of people around the blindness community were asking all these questions. Aaron, how do I go to university? How do I navigate this? How do I navigate that? How do I talk to this teacher that doesn't want me in their class or something like that? And I started to record responses to those questions in these various Facebook groups. And then it occurred to me, I was like, you know what? That's kind of like a podcast, because it's like an audience is asking me questions, I'm answering, and then I'm sending the responses back to the person. So then it kind of accidentally, I discovered, wait a minute, that's a podcast. Pretty cool. And then I just kept on recording my voice over years and started to enjoy it more and more and more. And then over the past year and a half, I started to interview people and get into YouTube and create a WhatsApp group and all these other features that I've had to learn. Like you were saying, you have to learn these things over years and years of doing it. You had to learn things about the station. I had to learn things about me, the podcast, and how to organize things, how to get organized with it. And then over time, it just started to develop into a thing. It was like, oh, that's really good for people. And I really see that other blind people around the world are positively affected. At least I hope they are. We aren't even in the same country, and we appreciate what we're doing. So I think that's the reason for podcasting, having nothing to do with the radio. That's why people should have a podcast. It's a way to impact people's lives in a positive way when there's so much negativity in our life already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So your podcast, how does it get that airplay? Does it be on a radio station, or does it be on any sort of podcast app? How does it get that?
Well, we're on, as of now, we are on all of the major podcast players, like the iHeart, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, iTunes, Spotify, Google, okay, all the basically all of the major, what's even the word, podcast apps, I guess, all the major stations for podcast, all the major platforms for podcasting, we're there. I also can tell you that one of the things is you're going to notice as you listen to my RSS, you're going to notice that I keep mentioning Life Improvement Radio, and that's the other station that I'm already on. So at the beginning of my intro, I always say you're listening to Life Improvement Radio because, eventually when their software catches up, then when they're listening on Life Improvement Radio, then the listener on their station will hear me say you're listening to Life Improvement Radio. That type of feel. So probably, Akil, definitely you will need to edit out some of the things that I say in my intros and things like that. But I'm sure with the software, you can edit out certain words that you don't want. Like obviously you can't have me saying Life Improvement Radio, right? And that's fine. But of course for the podcasting side, I want everyone on the podcast to know all of the stations where they could potentially listen, because you never know. People find out about these things in very odd and very unexpected places at the time when you'd least expect it. So that's, where I stand. Yeah.
Who are the team behind you, Aaron? Like, do you have a team?
I do not. I've had to teach myself how to do these things. Primarily what has taught me how to do this is two things. As I get over a bad cold, by the way, if you listen to my RSS, my podcast, you're gonna know that I'm a very blunt, a very real, and a very not edited person. So if I got a cough, you're gonna listen to it, right? If I'm gonna laugh, I'm gonna laugh for you. I'm real. There's nothing fake about me. At least, or wait, let me go back. This is an opinion show. In my opinion, there's nothing fake. There's nothing fake about me. At least I think so. I would say that there are two factors in my life that I would say really gave me, the inspiration for this. When I was a little boy, and I'm 30 years old, when I was a little boy growing up in the 90s, when I was driving or when my parents were driving a car, they would always turn on talk radio here in the States, and I would hear great broadcasters and things like that. I was also read to as a child, so I was always an auditory person, an auditory listener, and I'm someone for my entire life, I love to talk to people. I love talking. And this is just talking to people and creating content that other people enjoy. It's just something that makes me feel, it's just medicine for me, let alone you. This helps me. Me talking to you, Akil, this is helping me have a great day. And so I hope that that's what has really prepared me. Apart from all of that, I teach all day, and I teach English as a second language. So I'm behind my microphone online talking to people about languages and their goals in life. So I every day is kind of a podcast episode, in my work and in my thoughts and in my life. And then I also listen to great podcasters from all over the industry too, to pick up on what they're doing and to appreciate the knowledge that they give me.
Okay. Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So how long have you been doing podcasts?
I would say for about 2 or 3 years at least, seriously, like 2 or 3 years at least. I was going through my Spotify, looking at all these episodes that I've done. It was like, I've done so many over the years. I had to remind myself, I was like, wait, what is that thing even about? It was so long ago, I forgot what that episode is. Like, there's all sorts of episodes in there. I don't even know what some of them are because it was so long ago. All these people that I've spoken to all over the world. Yeah.
What about reviews? Like how much people review your podcast?
Well, views, it's how many people view the podcast, or like what are you asking? Like the audio podcast?
Yeah, like how many people like, all right, so let me do it this way. How many people do listen to your podcast? Like,
well, I've had over 2K plays, meaning the entire thing has been played, different episodes have been played, to total over 2,000 times. But I would say that I have listeners though from all of the continents, meaning I have a I have a wide range of listeners from the Caribbean to Asia, Africa, Middle East. I'm kind of sprinkled all over the world, basically. Little pins are all over the map, all little flags. A lot of people in Africa, Asia, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Americas. I would say I'm spread around the world. Yeah, and then also, too, Aaron's Opinion TV is a YouTube channel, and then this conversation also goes up on the YouTube channel. And I have, at this moment, I have over 100 subs on YouTube, and then people on YouTube are engaging with these episodes too. So there's a YouTube, and then there's an audio, which is all the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I must say, you have a nice revenue there. You have a nice goal going for you, I should say.
Thank you.
I'm also, I must say, I'm really happy to have you on High Energy FM when that day reach. I'm really, really happy to have you again, I should say, because before we couldn't, but now I could say, yeah, we could now have you officially on the High Energy FM.
Well, very good. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And what can you tell me? I of course love to speak about blind welfare associations. What's been going on down there in Trinidad and Tobago these days? What's going on down there?
Well, I mean, nothing much per se going on. Blind welfare, they do what they do. I mean, they're doing well for the most part, but there's nothing much to say or anything that fun to say that's really going on. I mean, they just work, do what you have to do, whatnot and whatnot. But it's fine. It's fine. I can't really complain, even if I want to. But yeah.
Well, good. Well, good. Yeah, yeah. Now, where have you traveled to outside of Trinidad and Tobago? People in your region love to travel. So where have you been?
Oh well, and I remember when I think back in 2018 or 19. I think it was in 18 when I had performed at the same Blind Welfare Association, and I get the chance to travel to Barbados and was to perform my same song that I performed down here. I had that opportunity to go Barbados, and for just not for too long, just for like a few days. It was just to perform and come back. And it was nice. It was nice. Traveling was nice. I wish I could travel, not just island to island. I will say Barbados because Barbados right there. But I just wish I could, get the chance to travel, to the United States or some other part of the world just to talk. I would love to. But I only had the opportunity to travel in Barbados. I would say it was nice. It was nice. It didn't have any fault or anything. It was nice. It was nice. And it was my first time on a plane too, so it was kind of terrifying for me. But it was okay.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand. You kind of got yourself into a little pickle here. You got yourself into a trap. You know what I'm going to say next. So if you can sing, let's hear you sing something.
Oh
boy, what a mistake! Oh, what a mistake that was. You should have never mentioned that you were singing. Boy, whew. What do you like to sing? By the way,
okay, I won't sing, but I love writing music. I do soca. I more love soca. So I write a lot of soca ultra, which is one of my favorite genres to write, I would say. I'm not very much up into the other genres like R&B and stuff, But I'm more, if I have to write a soca, yeah, I would. I came talking about singing and performing. When I had performed in 2017, my first performance was in 2017. I came. No, wasn't even first. My first performance was in 2016 when we had a performance at Pavi. Pavi had the performance, the show. I entered and I came, I think third third. Yeah, I think I came third. And then in 2017, I come and I get fourth place in 2017. I was with Ahsoka. In 2016 was a reggae, but I don't know, this might sound weird to some of you guys, but it's I mean it was a reggae in a calypso form. Yes, it was, and for me, I would say that was brilliant of me because to put a calypso and a reggae beat, it just take a big turn on that whole performance for me. And my second performance, I said, but that was in Oliver performance was with Blind Welfare. So I came fourth in 2017, in 2019, 18, sorry. I can't remember where I come though. I can't remember where I come. And I think the last performance was in for 2019. Yeah. I think I came last in that one. But I to me it was brilliant. I mean, all the performance for me was fine. I didn't have any problems. I mean, too bad I didn't come first in any of them. But I mean, I wouldn't fight it down. I wouldn't fight it down.
So what is your so what can you tell us for those who don't know? What can you tell us about the soca? So what is soca? What is calypso? Like what can you tell us about? Like let's do some musical talk here. What can you tell us about those styles of music?
Well, soca is more, I would say, the Caribbean thing. More Caribbean people love place. Will love of the soca, like places like here, Barbados. There's a lot of soca artists in Barbados. Our soca down here, we love it. We actually, and we also carry calypso. We don't really call it calypso anymore, but the calypso from then to now is too different. We don't I mean we try to bring it back from time to time, but it don't really work because of the older calypsonians like Sparrow and Shadow. All of these people either passed away or move on with their life. So it's more like, if soca is it, soca is it. So it's more Caribbean. We have like steel pan. We have steel pan is another thing. We rate a lot in Trinidad and Tobago. Steel pan. Another thing is I think chutney. Yeah, chutney is another one. That's more like chutney is more like Hindu kind of Indian, the East Indian kind of thing. We also rate chutney a lot here. Chutney and a lot of Indian stuff down here, musical wise. These are the things we rate for our country here. And we fly the flag, according to our like 20 people, we fly the flag high down here for soca, chutney, and steel pan.
So do you have?
And the thing about it is, even though soca is a Caribbean thing, we have a lot of foreigners do love soca also. So they also come down from time to time for carnival to enjoy carnival down here. So
and I thoroughly enjoyed when I was in Lucia. They were having the summer carnival, and I went to that, and I went to the the show, the Full Talent show. That is cool. It's a wonderful experience. And if you're visiting Lucia or Trinidad, in fact, when I was in Lucia, they had groups from Trinidad who came to Lucia, so it was a lot of fun. Yeah, and that was really cool. And it's basically a combination between a festival, a cultural event, and a talent show.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And I welcome anyone to come to enjoy what our soca, our music, our culture. I invite anybody to come and enjoy it because I mean, even though the soca is not where we want it to be, it still sounds great to us. It still sounds great. It's still what we want to hear. And I mean, soca is gonna be around for a good while.
Forever.
Soca been trending right around the world, but it may not be what we want to hear, but it still sounds great. It still plays on radio. We still dance to it. We still jump up to it. We still do a lot of things to soca. So I mean, I mean, I invite anyone to come and enjoy the soca. And the thing I like about it is how Trinidad and some of our Trinidad artists, go over tour the world to carry that soca, that spirit over there. To me, that is brilliant. That is brilliant because we never once get any bash for singing soca in New York or singing soca anywhere else. It's a love worldwide for our own culture, and that's what I love.
You're absolutely right. And that's and that's also the beauty of podcasting in a different way, because podcasting is something that's it's a global language. You can't upset someone. Well, actually, maybe you can. You really can't upset someone just because of a podcast. It's something that the entire world consumes and participates in, and that's why it's fascinating, and that's why you should keep singing. So, well, I gotta have a taste of some of your singing, your beautiful singing that you can do. Maybe if you can give me an original or some of your content here. Let's hear you sing a little bit here. I gotta make you. I mean, I
Don't
gotta make
worry,
you.
don't
I
worry.
gotta make you sweat a little.
I will send you something. I will send you something. Don't
Oh,
worry.
okay. So you're dodging it. So you don't want to sing on the air right this second, but
I will
you'll
send
send
you
me a little
something.
package after the
I will send
fact.
you something.
Okay. Okay. That is fine. That is fine. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. Um. Okay. And so, how many other podcasters are on your station right now? I know that you don't focus. Your station is not a podcast station, as we were saying off the record. But how many other podcasters are there right now?
Oh, well, for now, we only have Culturama, which is from Diva.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only podcast show we have on our station. But what we do is we are looking for persons with, podcasts about disabilities or anything concerning disabilities. We are looking for that. So, you know, if we could get some more of that, including yours, that would be great. Obviously, we're not going to pack the show with a podcast. What we're trying to do is bring a different feel to High Energy FM, to give it that feel that, we really care for our disability friends and families, you know. So we try to push disability, even though people are not pushing that name properly how it's supposed to be pushed. And people is like, just looking at that, oh, the disability fine, whatever they're looking at. But we want to make that change. And we could make that change. That's why we're looking for persons with podcasts like you, like your own podcast. We're looking for persons like that to be on High Energy FM, send in your shows, you know, make people know that I'm disabled, but yo, I have an opinion too. I have a voice. I can speak. You know, we don't.
Right.
I know we have a lot of them out there, but the thing with it is so underrated that you know it's not that easy to get persons to come out and say, hey, Heine GFM is having a disability, something, we could probably try to send out our podcast and see how far it could reach. We know we have some disability, some persons with that disability already that, not only shy, but they're afraid because they're afraid of how people will think towards them, think about them. But we want you all to know that, Heine GFM is that station to have your voice heard, and we assure you that people will hear you, and we're not pleading for any help. The only thing about it, we don't want people to think that okay, they want people with disability and to plead for help. No, that's not what we want.
No,
we
no.
want we want to change how people think towards us. And I'll say myself, because I am partially sighted also. We want persons to stop thinking the way they think towards us. Treat us better than treat us like how you would treat your son or your daughter. What if your son or daughter have a disability today or tomorrow? What would you do? Learn something from persons who have that disability. Try to pick up something and say, what, if my son go blind tomorrow, I know what to do. If my daughter goes blind tomorrow, if my daughter lost her feet tomorrow, I will know what to do. Because there's so many persons out there that just don't know what to do. There's so many persons also getting, lost in their vision, lost in their feet, lost in a hand, lost in something, a limb, something, and they just don't know what to do. And the only thing they know what to do is just put them in a corner and say, well, all right, you can't walk anymore, which means you just sit there and let us take care of you. No, that's not the idea. That's not the idea. And that's why a lot of persons don't know much of dealing with somebody with a disability. And that's what we're trying to push. We're trying to push people to learn about someone with a disability, so you will know if your time is to come. Who knows? And we're not wishing anything, but if your time is to come, you will know what to do. And that's what Higher GFM is pushing for.
Sure. There's a there's a saying that I have here on Aaron's Opinion that I think holds true. Help one person today, help 1 million people tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yep.
You'd be surprised, one show, one episode, 1 hour of your station, whether you even notice or know it or not, you could be helping one, and then that person helps 1 million others, and that's why people need to get involved in broadcasting and podcasting, because it is both a privilege to help you and others, but it is also an opportunity. And I see this as an opportunity that not enough people are taking advantage of, because, as you said, most people don't have the confidence, or too scared to be a podcaster or a broadcaster. It takes a lot of confidence to come here and talk to strangers, and to just come up on, to approach a station, to approach a topic and just take it on, grab the bull by his horns. That takes a lot of confidence. But what keeps me going, apart from the fact that I just love doing this, no matter who listens, I mean, no matter what, I just love talking. So I'll podcast no matter if no one listened, I would do it because it makes me happy. But the fact is, the overwhelming fact is that I'm seeing that other blind people need it. This is a necessity in many people's lives. And thank you for encouraging people to understand the truth. And that's very important, to understand the truth in a very blunt, a very honest, and a very kind way. And that's really what, sparkles right through about you. I don't really know much about you, Akil. And quite frankly, this is going to sound really awkward. I really don't care, because I know you're a wonderful person. I can tell just based on what you do for your station, based on how you conduct yourself professionally on Instagram, wherever. You're great. I don't need to know anymore. You don't need to prove yourself. You're fine, And that's what a lot of blind people around the community are afraid of, is that they're afraid, well, I'll have to prove myself. Well, the funny thing is, if you're a broadcaster, the only person that you're competing with is you. The only person you have to prove is you have to tell yourself you can do it. And that's magical. That truly is magical. At least I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to encourage your listeners out there, it's not the end of the world, and it's not, this is the life we have to live. Unfortunately, this is what we have to deal with. But you know what? Press on. I always say, you're looking for someone to speak with, and you're struggling to find that one person to speak with, because you're not sure what that person will think about you.
Right.
You're not sure how that person will think towards you. The only person you could probably speak with, and this will sound very awkward, is but yourself, because you have first thing first, This is how I just look at my situations, when I just also ask myself, what next can I do? What next can I do? What next would I be able to do for myself to help myself through this situation? And it's great. Yes, it do play with your mind at times. It do play with your mind, but then you find the answers when you need it, right? I want to encourage your listeners out there to just get up, go at it. Don't study nobody, because at the end of the day, is you have to deal with your own problems. Not no one, nobody else have to deal with it. It's you. So, try not to take on persons. Try to believe in yourself. Once you believe in yourself, you can do anything. And I go with that. So I know about it. Once you believe in yourself, you can do anything. Like where I am today. If I did not believe in myself, then I would have never been here today. But I am here today. So by just believing in myself, you know.
Yeah.
And again, if you have a podcast and you just have it packed down for collection's sake, send it to us, and we will get you to build your own confidence. We will also help you to build your confidence, because being disabled is not easy. We all know this, but then being disabled doesn't. You don't have to let it bring you down. You don't have to let it keep you down for whatever reason, whatever people think about you. Disabled, you don't have to be disabled and just sit down and have people mind you as they want to.
Would you believe it if I told you that we've been speaking for an hour?
Oh, really?
Isn't that magical? I don't know what happened. If someone, as I always like to say, it's been an honor to have you here, and I want to end the episode as I like to do by saying, so Akil, if you can ask me only one question to really make me sweat, to see if I'm worth my salt as a podcaster, one more question. What do you want to ask me?
I don't have any questions right now.
That's okay. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
response. Cool. If someone wants to get in touch with High Energy FM or you, how would they do it?
Oh, well, you guys can, send us an email, thestarrock798@gmail.com, or we also on WhatsApp. You can take our WhatsApp number, 1-868-470-4336. WhatsApp us. Let us know what you're up to. Let us know, when you'll be listening our station, to when Aaron's show will be aired, or if whatever, as I have on our Twitter account. You can also, you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, High Energy FM. For Twitter is high_energy_FM. For Instagram, it's high energy _FM. You can send us a DM anywhere you feel like sending us a DM. And once you listen to this podcast and you feel motivated by it, you're always free to welcome High Energy FM. As I put on our Twitter profile, we are always open to new listeners. So come in.
Cool. Thanks so much, everybody from around the world. Thanks so much, everybody. As I like to say in the outro, but I'll say it right here. Stay safe out there, everyone. Thank you, High Energy FM. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. And as I like to say, help one person today, help 1 million people tomorrow.